Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of D3 Week Chats on Facebook Live and Zoom. Today, we're talking about Gettysburg is Family, and we literally have a collection of student athletes and alums that have attended Gettysburg. The legacy marches on at Gettysburg. You can see my assembled panel here. We have the Bars hanging out in New Jersey, the Parkers also in Delaware, Jersey or Delaware?
Yeah, New Jersey.
Jersey. Sorry, I was getting you confused with some other swimmers there for a second. And of course, the Mowerys scattered across the country, I think. So welcome, everybody. I'm Corey Jewett, the Director of Athletic Communications at Gettysburg. And again, we're talking about Gettysburg is Family and seeing how, first off, asking the question why some of these student athletes have followed in the footsteps and their parents, and just talking about the parents too and what it's like having student athletes here at Gettysburg College. So before we get into the questions, I want to take a moment to allow each family to kind of introduce themselves, let us know how you're doing through all this, the current situation, and we'll start with the Bars, Liza and Brian.
So hi, I'm Liza. I'm a senior on the women's lacrosse team. We're hanging in there, taking it day by day, but happy to be here and a part of this.
Thank you, Corey. Thanks for having us on. Brian Barr, class of 86. I say I'm like the class of 2000, but nobody believes me. We're enjoying family togetherness here, but everyone's healthy, so we're happy.
That's great, guys. Thanks for joining us. And Josh and Susie, how about you guys? How are you guys doing? What's new?
Yeah, so I'm good. I'm just hanging in there, finishing out my online classes. I'm a senior, obviously, at Gettysburg. I was on the swim team.
And I'm Susie. I'm class of 86 also. And I am currently teaching from home. I'm teaching elementary special ed students, so it's a little challenging, but I'm getting very familiar with Zoom. So we're hanging in, and so far, everybody's healthy. We're doing well.
That is great. My wife is also a teacher, so she's going through the same process, trying to motivate high school freshmen and sophomores. So she can definitely relate to what you're going through, Susie. And finally, we have the Mowerys. We've got you guys divided up on the screen. We've got Haley and then the other collection there. If you guys want to start, Haley, why don't you start since you're flying solo there?
Hi, I'm Haley. I'm the abandoned sister, clearly, since the clan is in Florida soaking up the sun, but I am here in Pennsylvania, and I am from the class of 2018. So I got, a full 4 years. I truly am sorry for the class of 2020. That's unfortunate, but what an experience still, it's neat.
Hi, I'm Hal Mowery, a class of 76. And I'm very fortunate, Ken and I both are, to have Lexi and Ashley kind of hibernating quarantine with us in Florida this year.
And I'm Tina, class of 79, and I was a cheerleader. And I too agree, I'm happy to be quarantining with at least two of my kids, our kids. Hi, Hal, miss you, buddy.
Hi, I'm Lexi. I was class of 2015 and played on the field hockey team with my sisters.
And I'm Ashley, or Coach Mowery. I did not graduate from Gettysburg, but I am finishing up my 9th year coaching with Gettysburg. I'm the assistant field hockey coach and strength conditioning coach.
Yeah, but Ashley, you're the longest tenured Mowery of them all. So even though you've got the Messiah diploma.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you on today's chat. A lot of sports represented out there today, too. We're going to start with the Barr family. Works that way, alphabetical, actually. And Brian, I'm going to swing the first question to you. So why did you end up choosing to come to Gettysburg? And obviously you played football and track and field, too, while you were here at Gettysburg. Talk about some of the highlights from your career.
Well, the two highlights that stick out the most are for football team. My freshman year, we were kind of struggling in the beginning of the season, and the seniors brought us together in a closed locker room with no coaches. I can't repeat what was said, but the team got together and we won the last 4 games of the season. And I really think that taught us as freshmen what the importance of senior leadership was for that year, and that carried us through for the rest of my years there. We lost the first game my freshman year, never lost another home game through my 4 years there. So I always remember and appreciate the seniors for that. The other, Corey, is probably my senior year. We had a tremendous class that I graduated with, both athletically. They were smart guys. They worked hard, and everybody really liked each other. And I think the lessons that we learned from the seniors when we were freshmen helped us to a great season that year. We were undefeated, and we made it to the Final Four. So I think those are probably my two favorite memories of playing football at Gettysburg.
And, coming in as a touted high school athlete, why did you ultimately decide to come to Gettysburg and play for Coach Barry Streeter?
Well, the combination of the academics, the athletics, and the social life was a good college experience for me. I thought I wanted to play more than one sport. I also wrestled in high school, but I saw that it's really hard to do more than one sport. And after the football season, I was kind of beat up and tired. But I did run track my freshman year, which I enjoyed, but that got a little much too. So I played football for my last 3 years.
And of course, you did all right for yourself, 3-time Centennial Conference champion as a team, 85 season, the only unbeaten team in Gettysburg's long history in a regular season, 9-0-1. You got that one tie at F&M, and what was described to me by Barry Streeter as the muddiest mess he's ever seen. And you, of course, were an All-American too in 1985 as defensive back, setting that school record with 12 picks in 10 regular season games in 85. I'm familiar with your history. So, and a 2006 inductee into the Hall of Athletic Honor too. So now that I've established that, Liza, my question for you is, why did you choose Gettysburg? And did you ever feel any pressure considering the background that your dad had here?
Well, I would say the recruiting process was nice for me because I didn't receive any pressure to come to Gettysburg and make it a family thing, but it was a decision that I came to on my own. I remember being 8 years old, coming to my dad's athletic honor induction, and Gettysburg has just always felt like home. But like my dad said, the combination of the academics, playing for a top-tier lacrosse program under Coach Cantelli, who's one of the best coaches there is, along with just having an all-around college experience, it was an opportunity that I couldn't pass up.
Yeah, I think the favorite picture I received was a picture of you and your sister with your dad, and then also with the cheerleaders from it must have been 2006 when you were inducted, yeah. I would assume. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's good stuff coming from the Barr family picture-wise this week. So Brian, swinging back to you, how proud are you of Liza's accomplishments out on the field, and what's it like living with some national champions in your house too?
Well,
not only Liza, but your other daughter Erica won a national championship at Middlebury last year.
We'll get to that, Corey. But yeah, I love watching my girls play sports. It's always been one of our favorite things to do. And, through the losses and the wins and the good games and the bad games, they know we're always there to support them, and we love them no matter what, but maybe a little more after a win. In terms of having two national champions, all my family told me not to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway.
I don't know if you can see it. Wait, let's see. There it is on the pedestal, all the trophies and the watches and the rings.
So they told me not to do it, but that's how I feel. The girls have always been very competitive, and it's nice that they both won a national championship. It's a shame no one's going to get to play this year, but winning two national championships with Gettysburg was an amazing accomplishment for the team, the school, the coaching staff, and the amazing teammates and parents of that family.
Yeah, Liza, I believe you need to add another trophy up there. I only saw one. I mean, you've got to work for something, right?
Yeah, the other one's up there, but there was a glare with the sun, so I didn't know it. But it's nice that even though that we weren't able to get that three-peat, that we at least got the bar-peat.
I love that, the bar-peat. That's awesome. Yeah. Liza, I do have another question for you. I just want to ask you, what are your next steps here? Obviously, you and Josh, too, who we'll get to later, you're both finishing up your senior seasons, senior careers with your degrees and online courses. Now, when you get your degree, what are you looking to do after you graduate?
Well, definitely, like I said before, taking it day by day. But I'm hoping to, spend more time with my family and have a nice summer before going to work in the fall.
Good stuff. And of course, we'll swing back to you at the end for some favorite memorable moments out there. So we're going to turn our attention to Josh and Susie. Josh, representing for the swim team this week. Obviously, you guys managed to get your season in. The men's team, I know a couple of the women were still headed to nationals. Good for them, though, that the committee for swimming ended up giving them the All-America status. So I was very happy to see a senior like Kate Crilly get that status this year. Susie, we'll start with you. Obviously, you're a 1986 grad. Your parents went to Gettysburg as well, graduated in the 60s. Talk about your decision to come to Gettysburg and how they may have influenced you.
Well, I don't know if they influenced my decision of what school I was going to choose, but I guess they kind of did, because I spent a lot of my growing up hearing about Gettysburg and visiting Gettysburg. And so it was when I was looking at colleges, it felt very comfortable for me, and it was very much like home. So I guess they influenced me, but they didn't want me, they did want me to go there, but they didn't make me go there. I didn't feel pressured, just influenced, I guess. That's about it.
And what was your experience like at Gettysburg too? What was your major?
I was a French and English major, and I spent a year studying in Toulouse, France, which was very exciting. I was not an athlete, so I was able to do that for a whole year. I was in a sorority, and that was basically what I did. I did my classes and things with my sorority.
And Josh, you mentioned in the quote you sent us, you remember at a very young age coming to Gettysburg. What's your earliest memory of Gettysburg?
Yeah, so unlike my mom, I did feel a little bit more pressure to go to Gettysburg, I guess because I was the third. But I was a history junkie when I was younger, and always hearing about my grandpa talk about the Battle of Gettysburg. I did my own research. Then I guess you decided to bring us with you to a reunion where I think it was, I don't know, like both my parents and grandparents had a reunion at the same summer for different years, obviously. And we hit all the major tourist spots like Devil's Den, Little Round Top. I just thought that was really cool. And then later when I was a senior in high school, it kind of all played out well in applying.
That's great. I'm a history buff myself, completely appreciate that. The day I interviewed at Gettysburg in May of 2007, I made sure I did the 3-hour tour the day before, just in case I wasn't going to come back. Luckily, I came back. I've toured the battlefield a few more times. Josh, as you mentioned, you're a swimmer too. So why'd you end up wanting to come to Gettysburg to swim, and what was that experience like on the swim team?
So in high school, I was on a very strict program. And I guess just meeting Coach Raleigh, he's a very laid-back person. His program kind of followed the same suit. It was just a good contrast for me. It was something new, something different. It was a lot more of like intrinsic motivation, and I thought that was a good way that I could grow. So I really liked that aspect of the program. Also, they had won 6 straight conference championships at that point.
Yeah, they definitely had a legacy, and of course you won a conference title as well with the team in 2018? Is it 2 years already?
Yeah, 2018.
It doesn't seem like that long ago, but it is. Susie, turning to you, the swim team's parents, it's always interesting. I'm kind of positioned up there when I'm doing the live video feeds with my little table and cameras and stuff, and everybody comes up to me. I can't tell you the number of times I've talked to Frankie Nieves through the years. Talk about the camaraderie that exists between the swim team parents, particularly because the swim team itself has a really good history of family legacies, looking back at the Mowerys and the Closes that go back years and years at Gettysburg.
Yeah, it's fun. It was interesting because when we first started going back to swim meets, we thought, we'll go as often as we can. It's a 3-hour drive. It's not like, it could be a day trip, but we just, we weren't really sure what our commitment as a spectator was going to be. But it was just exciting and fun. And as we realized all these parents that I knew, I was even friends with some of these guys in college, and it was really fun to see them again and get together. And we started, planning our events around swim meets, and we'd go to the meets too, but we also were planning our our dinners and our happy hours, and it was fun. Our hotel reservations, we all stayed at the same hotels. It was fun.
And right on cue, I just saw some messages from Frankie on the Facebook live feed. So shout out to Frankie and his son Francisco, of course, as Frankie says, hey, hey, hey. Also, Jen Caputo was watching. She said hi to the Mowerys. And of course, Kelly Jones is watching, and she said she loves all Bullet families. So before we turn to the Mowerys, Josh, just want to ask you real quick, as you finish up your online courses at Gettysburg, working toward that degree, what are your plans after graduation?
Well, that really all just depends on how long we're stuck in quarantine. I plan to move to the Philly area and do some job hunting, but as of right now, there's no strict timeline for that.
Yeah, a lot of unknowns out there. We've seen a lot of answers to that question change this week and last week with some of the interviews I've done with student athletes as well. So everyone's right there with you. Josh, we'll come back to you in a little bit, but for now, we're going to turn our attention to the Mowerys. Now, you guys go back, it's 2020. You guys go back a solid century at Gettysburg College. I just went back and read the story I wrote 6 years ago. I can't believe it's been 6 years. Great-great-grandpa Harold Shear coming to Gettysburg in the 1920s. Since then, I believe we're at 13 or 14 family members that we've confirmed. There might be some second or third cousins out there that will probably come to Gettysburg too. But you guys have quite the legacy. So I'm going to swing it to Hal and Tina there in the back row. What does that legacy mean to you guys, and how much pride do you guys have seeing your daughters kind of carry that on?
Ladies first.
Okay. Well, to me, the legacy is unbelievable because it's basically all on Hal's side of the family. I just lucked into this legacy ride. Very lucky to have met Hal at Gettysburg, and the girls were just kind of, I think, just very similar to the other kids that have followed their parents. Were not encouraged or influenced or pressured to attend Gettysburg, but chose to go there because, again, their familiarity with it, always hearing about it, our pride in it, our swag, always wearing orange and blue. And we just, to me, it just has validated seeing them enjoy their college experience, seeing Ashley continuing on as a staff member at Gettysburg has validated what we loved about Gettysburg and why we chose to go there.
Hal, anything to add on that?
It's always great when Tina goes first because she covers all the bases. But, I know one of your questions is going to be what are the good experiences from Gettysburg? And it's easy for me to say because I met my wife at Gettysburg. So, you can't beat that. And when you've got 3 of our 4 kids, and actually our 4th one went there as well. So, I mean, it's a win-win all the way around.
Yeah, of course. Hal, you were on the football team, and Tina, you were a cheerleader, correct?
Right.
I think I've seen the cheerleader picture. I may have sent that to Ashley fairly recently.
We didn't cross paths while there, though. Hal is so much older than I am by 3 years. I was fortunate enough to meet him when I was a senior, and he was back on campus working with students and mentoring them for insurance positions.
Oh, I just want to
introduce you guys?
No.
You don't know the story?
Brooke Matthews said hi as well, so shout out to
Good.
So turning our attention to the more recent Gettysburg alums from the Mowerys, Haley and Lexi, why did you guys ultimately decide to follow in your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents' footsteps to the Berg? And I got we've had this conversation before. What was it like playing with each other and then playing for Ashley too?
I'll jump in there first. So for me, Gettysburg, like my mom said, had always been in the forefront of my mind because I've always heard the experiences they had. My mom would talk about her sorority times and the sports and football and just the overall life living at Gettysburg just sounded so great. And then when it became time for me to have to decide where I was going, it was Gettysburg or nothing is what I told them.
Gettysburg or beauty school is what she said.
So I went to school I went to Gettysburg and had my interviews, and I met Coach Jordan, and that just even solidified it for me. Meeting Coach Jordan, she's one of a kind. And then thankfully got accepted to go to Gettysburg. And then Ashley decided that Gettysburg would be a good fit for her. So we actually came in the same year. I was a freshman and she was the new assistant field hockey coach. So at first, I'd be lying if I said I was super excited about it, because I wasn't. But actually, it all ended up being great, playing for Ashley. And then eventually when I was a senior, having Haley come in and then having all three of us on the same team. It was a really special experience. And then being able to be on the field with both of my sisters and just knowing that my parents were in that same position and those who came before me and my family, also being on that same field and having that same experience was unique and one of a kind for sure.
Haley, how about you?
Well, just being the youngest in my family, growing up, no matter what it was, I always wanted to do what my older siblings were doing. If they got a hot dog, I wanted a hot dog. If they were wearing a hat, I wanted to wear that hat. And it goes on today, doesn't matter what we're doing, I want to do whatever my older siblings are doing. So when it came time to college, obviously Gettysburg was in my mind, but I definitely wanted to go to school to do different things than the rest of my family. I wanted to pursue theater, and come time to decision, my parents were great in helping me look at other places. They said Gettysburg's great, and they know that for a fact, but keep your options open and make sure you do whatever it is that you truly want to do. So it was really, it was an easy decision in the end, because I did get to look at other schools and other programs, and I got to talk to other people. But in the end, it made me feel even more confident that Gettysburg was the place for me, and I wouldn't change that for the world. I had the best 4 years there. As much as I've had umpteen family members go there, everyone has had their own experience there, and I can say the same for me. What my 4 years at Gettysburg is there's some similarity, but there are some differences to how Lexi's 4 years were and how Ashley's professional career is there and my parents' experiences there and whatnot. And the great thing about it is when you talk to your own family that has gone to Gettysburg or just any alumni, there are similarities that are timeless throughout the decades and the generations, but it's interesting to hear everyone's own personal Gettysburg journey. So, in playing for my sisters, I had the honor to play for Lexi in high school. She was a senior and I was a freshman, and she was our captain in high school. And I thought that was a lot of pressure, but it turns out college sports seem to matter a little bit more. And I got to feel that firsthand when you have a senior captain and your eldest sister is also your coach, and you just, barely put on the orange and blue for the first time, and suddenly there's a whole 4 years of pressure on your shoulders. And being a goalkeeper, I already had some pressure, and there was a couple times where there were maybe some threats I would never be spoken to again by Lexi in the heat of the game, but looking back, it made me a great person. So it was awesome.
Yeah, you guys both had awesome careers on the field hockey field. It was fun watching you guys play together for that year, and then obviously Haley, you had a great career too at the end. Ashley, obviously you're working on tenure here at Gettysburg College. You've been here almost as long as I have, and we're cracking the top 10 on the staff list now with some of our older colleagues retiring recently.
Oh man!
Obviously, you hold Messiah in high esteem as a graduate there. You were an All-American on the field hockey field in Messiah too. You had a great career there, but Gettysburg has to hold a special place in your heart as well. So, what's your time at Gettysburg kind of meant to you personally and professionally over the last almost decade?
Man, I used to be the youngest assistant in the office, and now I'm not, and that's kind of crazy to think about that. But now Gettysburg has been awesome to me. To know that the legacy of my family, that I get to be a part of that, even though I'm not a grad or didn't get to play for Gettysburg, is pretty great. I think I've earned my orange and blue stripes. Definitely had a great experience at Messiah, and they continue to be a mentor for me just up the road. Barb Jordan has been an awesome mentor and coach to work alongside with. She gives me a lot of free rein and responsibility to grow in my coaching career, professionally. And it really has been awesome. The community of working at Gettysburg, the community of the family legacies, everybody that is on today is just really something special to be a part of. And then to be able to coach both my sisters and 1 year with them at the same time is even better. I mean, I tell that story and other coaches look at me like, how'd that go? And I think in some other circumstances, probably it wouldn't have gone as well, but we made it work. Lexi and I seemed to go through the growing pains. And then when Haley came up through the ranks, it went pretty smooth and we had a great time. So it's been really awesome.
That's great. Thank you very much, Ashley. Now we have a little fun with the last question here. It might be the most difficult question. I know you guys have long histories at Gettysburg through the years, both before being student athletes and being student athletes, but I want to ask everybody kind of their favorite moments out there on the field or in the pool. So Liza and Brian, question for the both of you. And Brian, I have to tell you that Ray Condren actually emailed me the other day and brought up the Widener game. So I know Ray's been following along too. So no pressure if you want to give a shout out to him or the Widener game.
Hi, Ray. And the Widener game was my freshman year, and again, that game was after the meeting we had with the seniors. So I think that says a lot about the leadership that seems to grow, and every year, you stand on the shoulders of the team before you. My favorite memory is probably my senior year when we played Lycoming, who was a absolutely dominating football team. They had pro size. They were all on the offensive line, 6'5", 220, 230, 240. And we were smaller, and they beat us up in the first quarter, and then we were down 10-0. And then it was 85 degrees in mid-November, and our conditioning and our heart, I think, really came through, and we beat a excellent team that day. So that was probably my favorite memory.
And well, unfortunate to be a part of a program where there's so many great memories to pick from, but Corey, you can probably guess this one, but definitely winning the 2018 national championship for the women's lacrosse team. And we were able to go back to back, and that was a goal we set for ourselves at the beginning of that season. And that's a pretty bold statement to make, because it's so hard to, go back to back, and so many colleges don't even have that opportunity, and very few have actually been able to accomplish that goal. So to be able to come through and win 2 in a row was just a testament to our commitment and hard work that season. It was also interesting because it was against my sister's future team. So she was a senior in high school, watching that game from home and not knowing who to root for. So it was interesting for our family as well. And I'm looking forward to rooting for Gettysburg and Middlebury in the years to come as an alum too. But that definitely stands out above the rest.
Yeah, of course, that 2018 game, you busted out with 5 goals. Got yourself a little space in Sports Illustrated faces in the crowd too, if I remember correctly. So not too bad for you. Brian and Liza, thank you very much. So turning to the Parkers, what do you guys have to say about your favorite moments out there in the pool deck?
Well, I was not an athlete in college, so I don't have a great athlete memory, but Josh had a lot of good athlete memories that I was part of, sort of. So I think ultimately, just looking back, I think it was fun this year because it was just like years and years and years of Gettysburg in my life kind of ending this year with Josh's graduation, unless maybe some of his kids go there someday, I don't know. But I think maybe senior night was kind of like symbolic of like culminating the season and all of my years there and his years and maybe even my parents' years. I don't know. It was a good memory.
For me, I would say definitely winning conferences in 2018. The year before, we had 3 empty roster spots, and we still had like a pretty solid second place finish. So then coming back the next year with a bigger team and winning it was really cool to be on top of the podium.
Yeah, you had a great career. Your name is sprinkled all over those distance swimming events on our top 10 list as well. So congrats to everything that you did in your career, Josh and Susie. Thank you. And now we have the Mowerys. I don't know how you guys kind of pick a top moment. I mean, I've seen Tina and Hal at every field hockey game for the last like 10 years or so. So what do you guys have for me?
Well, I think the best situation that we ever had was having Lexi and Haley play for Ashley and all on the field at the same time. I mean, you look around, you just don't get to see that often, and we got to have a fantastic field hockey season that year. So it was that's probably my best moment.
I agree with Hal. That was unlike anything that families probably experience, to have three daughters on the same field at the same time in different roles. I'm just going to digress a little bit though, because I was thinking about some of my favorite memories at Gettysburg in general. And as a cheerleader making the squad, that was key. That was, primary. But then just being a part of that squad for football and basketball games year round, being with those girls all the time. And it was back in the day when Gettysburg did not provide transportation for the cheerleaders to the away games. So some of the funniest memories I have is for half of the squad cramming into my Volkswagen Beetlebug to drive to parts of New York and New Jersey and wherever we were going to cheer for our team. We didn't have a lot of spectators there, but we were cheering anyway. So that was fun. And then another really, really fun memory for me was in being a part of my sorority was bid night. Very exciting time being a part of a group that was so stressful in making the decision and going through the rush process, and then reliving bid night with Lexi when she went through the process, sitting at home waiting, seemed like endlessly for her to receive her bid, and ultimately we are now sorority sisters. So those were very special moments. Then of course meeting Hal was the key to it all.
Hal number 4, I think.
No, I didn't. No particular order there. No particular order.
Thanks for counting, Corey.
All right, on to the daughters. What do you guys have to say about your favorite memories?
For me, there's so many. When I was thinking about it and I sent you my email, I was like, gosh, how do I choose from the different family nights that we had, parents' weekends, I think they call it, alumni weekends. Obviously, my family's included in all of that. To the overtime moments in the cage with Haley, where I'm like, I swear if you let this in, so just like some really neat moments like that. But I'd say overall, and it's actually a funny story, is my freshman year, walking out onto the field for my first home game. I was so proud wearing my jersey, knowing that I was going to get to start my first freshman game. I'm walking out, and I wish you would have had the camera rolling during this, Corey, but I'm walking out waving to my grandparents in the crowd, my parents, my cousins who have gone to Gettysburg. And in waving and being so distracted and caught up in the moment, I fell over the line flag in the corner and completely embarrassed myself. But that whole moment, just walking out wearing the orange and blue, just was, it was all worth it in that moment. The stress of picking Gettysburg, going through the process with Ashley, and then actually making the team and knowing that I had a starting position and seeing my parents and everyone else supporting me was probably one of my top moments. Oh, also beating Ursinus my sophomore year.
First win over Ursinus, and I think 50 years, actually, if I recall correctly. It was a long time ago to remember what the context of that. I wish our video was rolling for what you just described, though. I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
Great.
Haley, let's swing it to Haley, and then we'll go with Ashley.
Well, just like everybody else, every memory at Gettysburg is a good one. I'd say probably my favorite field hockey memories would have to be senior year, beating Ursinus as well. That was a crazy game that honestly we didn't expect. We had everything thrown in there, some strokes and some craziness. And looking back after the game, I remember Coach Jordan saying, almost towards the end of the game, oh my gosh, we're going to win this game. And it was, we celebrated like we won the Super Bowl. It was unbelievable. That was probably one of my favorite memories. Making the club for 400 saves was another great one, something I never expected. Just getting to play all 4 years with my sisters included, for sure, is a top one. Everything that the field hockey program has, I'm thankful for, and it has been a great memory. I've met my greatest friends on my field hockey team and at Gettysburg. So yeah, I loved it all. And you know, Gettysburg also is full of ghosts and paranormal, and that was also a big reason why I picked the school. And so I loved all the ghosts I never got to see, but you know, it was an added bonus for sure.
And of course, your performances on the stage too at the Majestic, I had a chance to see. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was fantastic.
Thank you.
You were
Yes,
awesome
about a
up there.
six-season business. Yeah, that was really fun. That Bomb Squad was another big memory of mine. You know, a little bit of everything. Gettysburg was awesome for me. I loved it.
The holistic experience. We had that chat on Tuesday.
Yes.
You can be in next year's D3 week when we talk about the holistic experience at Gettysburg you can get.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Haley. Ashley, how about you?
There's a lot, but mine are mainly field hockey. I think Lexi, I was thinking about that. Lexi falling over the flag was probably one of the funniest ones. And then we also made it to playoffs Lexi's freshman year, sophomore, freshman year. We made it to playoffs. So that was great to be back there. Haley, there are a couple funny ones. I distinctly remember practicing in the spring and we were doing shooting and a ball came flying at Haley and she turned back and she was like, you know what? I've got a show tonight. I can't do this. This is my face. I can't do this right now. But it was great because, you know, after practice, we all went to the show and she did amazing. So that was an awesome one. Definitely making it back to playoffs this year with the squad that we have now was huge. You know, Centennial Conference is just so challenging and so competitive to get through. It's what we've been working so hard for. God, there's a ton. And then I guess on the faculty side, you know, can't beat our annual Christmas pub crawl. That's always one for the books.
I was going to say also one of the integral parts of following the field hockey program is getting to meet all the other families involved, and the camaraderie that is built through supporting your children is unlike any other. And we've made lifelong friends at both Messiah and Gettysburg. We will continue to be in touch with those people and see them. And you know, it's when you go through the experience together, it's like none other. And the families and the kids at Gettysburg are also welcoming and friendly.
I'd also say that Haley's stand-up night was pretty awesome. That was a great, when she did her hour-long stand-up comedy show, that was really something special to just see how hard she's been working on off the field.
Thank you very much, Tina. Your statement was, I should have just let you close things out, really. I mean, that statement was perfect and gets at the reasoning behind we're doing what we're doing today, and that's honoring Gettysburg as a family place. Obviously, we've got the physical relations, the parents, the grandparents, the cousins that have gone to Gettysburg and continued that legacy. But beyond that, the teams exhibit that same family atmosphere as well. I mean, I can think of tailgates involving all of your respective teams over the last, we'll give it 10 years. And they were all great. The parents are all supportive. They all connect really well. So I'm so sure Brian and Susie could support this too. And for the Mowerys, it was 2012 was the last playoff appearance before this year. So it was, I believe, your sophomore year, Lexi. It's all up here, unfortunately. So that does it for today's chat. I want to thank everybody for joining in and telling us about your Gettysburg experiences through the years, why you came to Gettysburg and what it's meant to see the legacy carry on. Hopefully we see that legacy carry on years down the road as well. I want to wish you all the best of luck as you finish up, Liza and Josh, as you finish up your college careers, and everyone else as we, you know, meander through this crisis each and every day and tackling this new normal that we're all encountering. So for the Barr family, the Parkers, and the Mowerys, I am Corey Jewett signing off. Go Bullets.